the final definitive tier list for Mortal Kombat 1. That's right, baby, this game might be dead, so today we decide the best and worst characters on the roster. But to help me, I need someone who plays this game on a regular basis. How's it going, Div? How you doing today?
How are you?
I'm doing quite peachy, ready to break down the best and worst characters in Mortal Kombat 1. It's gonna be a difficult challenge, honestly, because there was a huge update that changed a lot of stuff. Like, some characters got new moves, the cameos and the main characters got rebalanced, so I'm not entirely sure yet which characters are the best and worst, which is why I got you here with me today.
Yep, I'm ready to piss some people off in the comments. You know my takes. They're spicy.
Listen, it can't be a good tier list if you don't have a hot take. That's what I always say. Let's start off with a character who got a pretty reasonable nerf in the past, but also got a brand new move, so I'm not sure where he is. Is Kenshi still a top 5 character? What do you think?
I don't believe so. I think he still works, but he's not top 5 in my opinion at the moment.
Very well, then we're gonna call this top 10 instead of top 5, because he is no longer a top 5 boy. Who would you consider a top 5 boy or girl?
So right now, I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room of a top 5 character, and that's Cyrax with Serena cameo. You know, we saw Sonic Fox absolutely dominate with this character at the most recent offline tournament. And it's pretty nutty. It's actually kind of insane what Cyrax can do, so she's a top 5 pick for me.
Which is kind of hilarious because Serena was seen as the scrub pick. Like, Serena is the cameo you have when you're new to the game or you just want really easy combo conversions and you want to drain the opponent's meter, basic stuff like that. But turns out, when combined with a more complex character like Cyrax, it's a busted mess. Very funny.
Yeah, no, Cyrax big thing though, just you can't break away from her. She's just gonna drain that meter all day, so good luck. You're in an infinite vortex loop.
Okay, is Johnny Cage still a top 5 character?
Personally, not for me, but he is still really good.
It's funny because I guess his kit's just so good that no matter how much you nerf him, he's always going to be a strong character. Sindel got nerfed pretty hard in both patches. Some of these characters, for anyone watching, they got nerfed in one patch, then buffed in the next, or vice versa. Sindel, I think, got nerfed twice. Now, Tremor is still really good and is like one of her best cameos.
Maybe it's I struggle with Sindel. I think she's still really strong, especially with Tremor. Still super strong. Personally, Sindel would still be in my top 5. Now, I don't think she's the best in the game. There are a couple characters that are better, but you still can pick Sindel with Tremor and play keep away with a life lead because of the plus 100 health on Tremor.
That's kind of wild that he even gives you that, when you consider the nonsense that he has. For anyone watching not aware, Tremor can interrupt strings that nobody else can, and he can punish some things that are not meant to be punishable because of his weird ability to be summoned as an ambush and then do an attack in between blocking.
He's gross. Man's the best cameo in the game right now.
NetherRealm said something recently. It's a bit of an infamous statement. They said Sub-Zero's top 5 now. Is that true, Diff?
You know what? I really should, just to make the subs mad, but nah, he's not top 5. He's not.
No, is he behind Kenshi?
He's behind Kenshi, in my opinion.
Do you think he's top 10?
I don't think he's top 10.
Oh, get down there, Subby Wubby.
Yeah, I'm not going to be placing him bottom 5, in my opinion. I don't think he's that bad. You know, Sub-Zero Cyrax works great. I just think, you know, as a poster boy character, he's in a decent spot. He could use a little love, but if they never come back to him, I think he's okay and fun to play.
I like him a lot with Janet too, just because the crazy combo damage he gets now. The fact that if he touches you, like at all, and gets that freeze off, he gets a 50% combo for 1 bar is pretty cool. Who would you consider then, Diff, is a strong top 5 character? Give me a few, because I keep starting it off and having you, you know, help me out here, but I want you to tell me some.
We got the tank himself, who somehow kept the extra HP even after a rework. That is our boy Havoc.
Oh yeah.
He is a strong top 5 pick at the moment. Deletes health bars, has a giant health bar himself. Mix-ups, although unsafe, he has the health to play with. That character's nuts.
And he's got that really annoying fuzzy that is still tough to deal with, that overhead low that's nearly impossible to fuzz. You just gotta guess, right? I'm actually happy that Havoc's in this spot, only because he's not gonna be in the next game, most likely, so I want him to live it up in Mortal Kombat 1. Who else would be a top 5 character?
This one is a newcomer. I'm happy to see him here. It's another Big Daddy of the roster. We've got Big Daddy Shao with Tremor at the moment. We've seen Dialogue doing great in tournament. I think got second in the one that Sonic Fox just placed first with Cyrax. Shao Tremor, an absolute tank. What are we rocking, like 1250 health? That's absurd when there's characters walking into sets with 900 HP.
Yeah.
And then with the axe stance buff, where he can just, keep his axe on the ground longer, he's really good.
And it guarantees a mix-up too, which is also really strong. That's cool though. My buddy's gonna be super happy to see this because I have a friend who loves General Shao, and he already had like the best whiff punish in the game, arguably, and now he's got all this new stuff to play around with, so awesome.
Yep. They solved his one main issue, which is no mid on Shao. That was like always it. Well, now if you just never leave axeless stance, or you don't have to as often, then you don't have to worry about it as often because you're getting the mix and all that.
What about Natara? Is she top 10?
Oh, what do you think? I want to hear yours before the Natara mains come for me. What do you think about Natara?
So I'm leaning towards very possible because she didn't get nerfed heavy or anything, right?
Yep, no, she did not.
And she's still like top 1 damage, isn't she? I don't think anyone else gets the damage she does.
I am personally with you. I would put her right down at the bottom-ish of top 10. Like she'd be going, kind of like rounding it out for me. I just think she is a matchup merchant. If you have like a good, fast enough long-range mid, like Kenshi's mid is a good example, you can kind of stop some of her antics, jumping, dashing around in the air. But if not, and you're forced to use slow long-range mids, or your buttons don't go far enough to stop her jumping, good luck. You need to learn to up block, and even then it's mind games, so.
Very true. For anyone wondering why Natara can lose really bad in certain matchups, she's got no teleport, and her only armor move does not advance her forward. So anyone that can zone well and just lock down the air especially, like Sub-Zero ironically is a great counter to Natara. How about Melina with that nonsense that she got? Is she cracking the top 10 with that new Tarkatan Rage, or whatever they call it?
We love Melina out here. So I'm just wanting to see, do I give her a top 10 spot? I'm personally not going to put her top 10. I think she falls a bit outside of it. I think the new buff is better than some people think. Have you tried the new buff a lot? What do you think?
Yeah, well, the problem is people see it as a combo extender, which is not really what it's meant to be because Melina already had combos. It's more so just constant mixing over and over again, like constant mix-ups until death.
Yep, and then a big part for me is it gives her, I guess, like built-in mix. She can actually throw the loci and combo off of it, which gives her true mix-ups if you have a Sonya cameo, or the 1-2 string becomes a true mix-up, so.
All right, who do you want to put in the top 10 area?
Okay, let's see. I'm looking at a few DLCs, and they're 2 fan favorite DLCs, but we'll start with Ermac. He's top 10 for sure. I think he falls just outside of the top 5 right now. I've got a few other characters that I really like, but I think he is the MK player's favorite character to watch, if that makes sense. He's cool, he's got dash cancels, he plays honest while still being super good.
And it's very interesting because if you told me back in MK9 or even MKX that Ermac was going to become the rushdown monster, I wouldn't have believed you. He seems like such an obvious case of a zoner because of the telekinesis and attacks that have disjointed hitboxes.
No, I was saying, and then on top of that, hitting you for 65% when he gets the opening, with a combo that is really hard. If you've never done the Ermac Janet Cage combos, with Gento out, you will break your fingers because it...
All right, who's next, Diff?
Okay, and I was talking about these fan favorite DLCs. We got Noob Saibot in the top 5 right now.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, yeah. He plays well anywhere on screen. I think that's his biggest perk. He's good everywhere. He can zone, he can rush you down and mix you up. Having the overhead launch buff changed the game for that character.
That's what I was gonna say.
No, it's just that he's insane. That overhead is borderline unreactable online. So along with that sweep that goes super far, he's nuts. And he does so much damage on top of that.
Yes, it's really crazy how they gave him the mix-up options. I was almost in disbelief when they gave him the overhead combo buff. So that's just crazy. All right, I'm liking this so far, Tiff. Hit me with another character.
Would you like a good character still? Are we looking for who I think is good? Because I'm seeing one on my screen, and that is T1000.
Yeah, I was gonna say either T1000 or Ghostface is probably going in like the top 10, so.
Is kind of interesting. I like what NetherRealm did here to make him play a little bit more like MK11 Terminator, where, like, T1000 in this game can absolutely roll you with 3-way mix. He's the best mix-up character in the entire game. A great low reversal with the projectile thing. But He's just not the master of everything anymore.
Do you like where I put him, by the way? Should he be behind Ermac or?
I would move Johnny down to behind T1000 at the moment.
I just realized we have exactly 10. All right, now it's time for the A tier. I had to count real quick. We're done with the top 10, at least for now. Keep in mind, everyone watching, it can change, and don't skip to the end. You'll get a gypsy curse, all right? 10 years bad luck, don't do it. Now it's the A tier. I'm thinking Ghostface gotta be up here near the front somewhere.
I would be willing to put him at the top of A tier here if you are.
He's an absolute menace. This guy has so many moves. It's like, how do you even counter someone? How do you learn the matchup of a character who's got 3 different movesets? And combine that with his crazy damage, his very easy hit confirms, and his ridiculous guaranteed restand into more setups. It's almost like they wanted to create a horror character by just making him overpowered. That way you're like, oh, I'm scared, because you're scared of how busted he is. You know what, Diff? I'm noticing something. I think we're intentionally downplaying one of our boys. I think Scorpion might be top 10.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, he's top 10. Yeah, no. You're so right. I just didn't even see him there. I'm thinking, who do we move down here? I think we move Kenshi down for right now.
Fair, based. Okay.
Especially in pro play.
I'll put him in front of Natara for sure, probably in front of Johnny. I'm not sure if he goes in front of T1000 though.
I personally am putting Scorpion in front of Ermac.
For anyone wondering why, it's because there's no part of the screen that Scorpion's not dangerous. Like, he can literally hit you from mid-screen with a normal attack, and then anywhere further, he's got the teleport shenanigans. So he's just always a threat. And Spear can also whiff punish really well.
Literally, I think one of the worst launch characters, potentially in NetherRealm history. Like, he was bad. He had no reason to be played. But nowadays, I think, again, having Pharah mix-ups with back 3, characters that don't have long-range armor, there's not a lot you could do back 3 Pharah, because the counter to it is armor through it. Like, Ermac is a great example. He'll armor through it and launch you with Janet. If your character can't do that, back 3 Pharah, disgusting, and then he could still play well with Jax and other cameos.
Liu Kang. Because Liu Kang's always pretty decent.
Yep. I would put him kind of around Melina in A tier.
Okay.
That's where I'm gonna put him right now.
And Katana, is she closer to Ghostface, or is she like...
Yeah, let's move Kenshi below Ghostface and Katana for him. What I'm gonna talk about though for Liu Kang, like where he's at, I don't even think he's necessarily bad, or like anything like that, or he can't be used to win. One, he's kind of boring. He's one of the main characters I think that still feels like the OG launch of MK1. But on top of that, every character in the game now has crazy throw combo damage. Like, that used to be Liu Kang's whole archetype.
He's one of those characters who, like you just said, he hasn't changed a ton since release, but he just started off being decent anyway. There's a character who's a bit controversial. Some people say she's the best, like top 7. Some people say she's mid. Some people try to say she's bottom tier. Those people are wrong. Those people think Taylor Swift is the best musician of all time. Those people are just wrong. But this character I'm talking about is Li Mei, because her kit seems really good, but the execution of using it correctly is the tricky part, I feel like. So where do you think Li Mei is? Is she like scooting up in front of Liu Kang, or is she in a good spot right now?
I think she's in a good spot. I think though, she was kind of like OG Baraka when he came out. A little bit, even though Baraka was good. But say like season 2. Where I think Li Mei destroys casual players. So if you only hop on MK1 like once every few weeks and you play a few games of Kombat League and you go against Li Mei, you'll probably think she's insanely broke. She's got plus frames, all that. But armor gaps are still a problem, and T-Rex arms.
Yeah.
Plus she's kind of locked into a cameo like Scorpion, which to me is kind of meh.
That is unfortunate. She is dialed in, like, with those certain cameos. You can't really switch her around. Since we name dropped Baraka just now, Low Raka, as some could call him, because he spent a long time being bad after that first season that he was good, and then NetherRealm said, nah, he can't be good, he's ugly.
Nah, I mean, Baraka's gonna go near the bottom of mine.
Get down there, Baraka.
He's one of the last remaining relics of the boring MK1 meta at the start of the game. Just playing with Kano as Baraka, once you've played it enough times, it's kind of just be patient and you can beat him.
That new Desperate Tarkatan is cool. The fact that he never stops building meter is pretty nuts, but he's already near death's door and he's losing health, so you touch him once and he's gone, right? That's the issue.
Yep. I've not had anybody, at least in ranked so far, do it, and I think like, wow, that move saved him. It's gotten close, and I agree, it's nice, and people have won rounds with it, but it's never been game-changing for me, and I think it is because you're saying, because he's dropping health every few seconds, it's tough for him. He has to do things quick.
I kind of wish the NetherRealm just gave him bleed without having to spend meter or something. I feel like that would have saved him. That's where he's at. Since we're in like the low tier area, we should talk about that, I guess. Garrus, is he still in the C rank or is he climbing?
He can go in my B rank. He's definitely not C rank to me. There's going to be people that argue Garrus is better than this, but he has one main weakness to me, and that's he can't actually enforce his command grab like other characters can. Because if he down ones, Johnny Cage can use a button after like getting hit by the down one, and Garrus still can't command grab after that. It's really interesting. You'd have to play it to all the viewers to see it.
I understand. Yeah. In other words, it's not fast enough is what it sounds like. I've seen people spread actual lies about this character though. I get that he's lacking, but I've seen people spread actual lies. Like Garrus has no way to do blank, and I'll respond like, this move right here does that. What are you talking about? Yep. like lies are being spread about this man to get him buffed. Is Tanya in C rank with our toothy boy, or did she climb with Garrus?
Tanya is actually my bottom 1 character in the entire game.
Even after the buff, even after the move that lets her do all the stuff? Damn.
It's tough. She's lacking what I think all good characters need in this game, and I just think her mid is now too slow, and she just doesn't have enough for me. I don't know. Just be patient against Tanya.
What's she gonna do? What's she gonna hit me with? Don't got no overhead to scare me with. And her throws don't combo either, I'm guessing, and all that, or at least not well. So it's like, what's she gonna do? It's cool that she's an install character, though. I do like that, and wish that NetherRealm would explore that more in future games with other characters. Who else is like a low tier, or was a low tier? Shang Tsung was considered pretty bottom for a while. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's still down there. Shout out to people like Wraith and other players that tried to keep the Shang Goro dream alive with the unblockable resets and stuff. Yeah, like, I don't think his kit itself is all that bad. It's the implementation of the cameo steal move doesn't pair well with how he combos. If that was fixed, I think he'd move up.
It's also the fact that he's so situational. It's just like Shujinko. Although with Shujinko, they gave him so many new moves that I guess he's good no matter what now. But Shang Tsung is very much at the mercy of the matchup. How about another controversial character? Some people claim this guy's really bad or extremely lacking. I think this character hovers around the okay area because I still see them at tournaments, and that's Kung Lao. What do you think about Kung Lao? Is he up here at the end of A or at the front of B?
Personally, I'm putting Kung Lao actually in A. And I'd actually bring him above Sub-Zero in this spot right here. At the very least, it is the big thing like we talked about at the very beginning of this. Sector cameo with Lao works really well, and it's a really oppressive fight. Lao without Sector, I think drops, but because that's the way it's going to be played by a lot of people, I think the team's really, it does its thing.
Exactly, and we're kind of late saying this, everybody, but this tier list is going to be going off of the ideal situation. So we're not doing the characters by themselves. We're doing the character with their optimal cameo. Kung Lao with his best cameo is right here. Oh, Reiko got a lot of stuff recently. Where's Reiko?
Oh, this one's hard. And my opinions changed like 3 times on Reiko. So when he got the newest buffs, people were like, they're meh. But then online tournaments, right? Reiko was doing really well. But then now he's not played as much all of a sudden. So I don't know. I think he's got to be near the upper end of A. I really do. Because with Tremor, I think he takes advantage of Tremor just being nuts. But with Tremor, he's just good.
For anyone watching who's not aware, Reiko got this new air command grab that makes him like really oppressive. He can do it from his run now too, and Tremor gives him a new way to do it also. So he's got like 4 different ways to reinforce his command grabs now. His Shuriken got nerfed to death. It's still good at decent ranges for pokes and after like certain moves to get guaranteed chip damage and all that, but it's no longer a counter zoning or zoning tool. It's just for more up close oppression. That's what it's for. He is now an in-your-face exclusive character. No more low tier god strats with this guy. Quan Chi is one of those characters too that we go back and forth on in our heads because people say he's low tier, but then you fight a good one and you're like, what the hell do I do? Because he has constant armor, he's constantly draining your meter so you can't break. He's locking you in those dumb skeleton traps, all that nonsense. So how do you feel about Quan Chi?
Oh, how do I feel? I suck against this character. So me personally, I know I gotta take my own skill issue in the matchup out. I think where you have him is pretty good. I like the new Bone Cage buff that NetherRealm just gave him. He is the biggest knowledge check character in the game. It takes forever to figure out how to fight against him because, as you said, he's gonna be draining that meter. and you need to know what to do about him setting up portals and then teleporting onto you.
My only answer when I was fighting him at Evo was to use Melina because her 1-2 is just so fast. So it armor broke a lot of his setups. Yeah, Quan Chi's a menace. He's an absolute menace, but I guess once you learn to break him, he's not an issue anymore. So he's either at the front of B or near front of B, or maybe later on we put him at A or something. All right,
by the way,
Homelander, go, yes, what's up?
How were we on the same wavelength?
Yep.
I was about to say we have an elephant in the room character, and we need to decide. I think we're dropping Natara down, because Homelander, he's top 10. He is.
And he's definitely in front of Cage, right? For sure.
I believe so. I think put him right there. And by the way, I know some people are going to say right now he has, with Madame Bo, a unblockable reset kind of exploit at the moment, where if he's floating while Madame Bo does the low cameo move and spends the whole cameo bar, it's an unblockable reset. It's kind of broken. Even aside from that, because that's definitely a glitch, he's great.
You want to kind of factor in if these bugs or really broken stuff are going to be fizzled out by NetherRealm in an emergency patch or something of that nature. So Peacemaker's still bottom?
Yeah, I think Tanya's worse, but Peacemaker, some people are going to put him higher personally, but I must not be fighting. I'll run into a Peacemaker every few weeks, and Peacemaker Farah makes sense. You can go for the cheesy teleport plays and then have Farah grab onto you. It's just, there's not a lot there for him.
We've seen a lot of Takeda with Roethor or something. I forget his name, sorry. He was on Rip's Arena, and he's been recently competing in the actual tournaments, like the big ones, the majors, and he's making Takeda work with Jax. So how do we feel about Takeda? Is he at the front of B, or where's he at?
I'm putting him, my mind has been changed. Takeda's probably the biggest one. I'd probably put him in A by Lao. And also, everyone remember, I actually think that in MK1 at this point, this is one of the best metas and balance we've ever had. Like, having a lot of characters that are in, like, top 10 in A just kind of makes sense these days, because NetherRealm's really figured out a rhythm on how to make a lot of characters viable to some degree. So that's why I have a lot up here.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of characters in A and B. I've said this a lot in my videos. People don't want to believe me. They want to fight with me. There is no bad character in this game, really. Every character in this game, if you want to play them and you have fun with them, you can win outside of the highest level of play. Here's an interesting one, Conan. This guy has tools that to me sound busted even on paper.
His tools on paper are busted, but in reality, I did not think we'd see as much Conans as we have been, considering he doesn't have a short range, fast mid. You know, he has no way to mix you up with any of his command grabs. But then we watch Ninja Killa use Conan Shujinko against the Takeda and do a 75% combo. I think he's got to be towards the top of B for me, at the very least.
Yeah, I may put him like behind Li Mei for now. What I was thinking about Conan is they wanted you to rely on his parry to make up for him being slow. Because if the opponent's trying to interrupt you because you're not very fast, you just parry them and get a full combo. But it's such a risky way to play if that's what NetherRealm was intending. So instead, he's more like Noob Saibot in MK11, where if you make a mistake, he just murders you.
Let's throw Omni-Man in B tier. Not any huge reason. Like, he's still a character that can win, but there's characters that do similar things just better than him. I'm also going to be throwing Smoke in B tier. He hasn't changed much even with the buffs. His issues for like high level play are still there, where people are armoring out of all his strings, and then his overhead is like 26 frames startup.
Yeah.
So there's those. What do you think about Rain and Raiden?
These are interesting. I feel like Rain not being an A tier is crazy given the amazing kit that he has, but maybe it is a speed issue. He's not the super fast character, and he's also not a crazy mix-up character either, really, but he has the Kara throw. He's the only character that was allowed to keep his Kara throw. They took Baraka's away, Diff. He had it for like a couple hours and they took it away. Why did they take away his Kara throw? For anyone watching who's super confused, it's understandable, all right? A Kara throw in fighting games means you can interrupt a normal attack with a throw to extend the range of the throw, or to just give it a mix-up factor because the opponent sees the attack coming and blocks, then you throw them.
Baraka's though, really quick, if you're wondering like, when did he have that? They released the buff to him that had it, and I literally started stream an hour after that. It was already hot fixed out. So there was like 30 minutes you could use it. I was so mad. I was mad.
Rain still has it though. So like Rain still has that mix up with the Kara throw, and he can combo off his throw, which is interesting.
Yes.
Also, fun fact, I've got to mention this because it still bothers me. Natara is the only character in the game who her cameo gets locked when she throws.
That is so weird. Yeah, that is weird. I always forget that every time I talk to you. Yeah. Oh my.
I would say if Rain's not going to be an A tier, he's probably at least like right behind Ashura.
Yeah, I think the big reason I keep him low, and so again, declaring my bias here, but it is a pretty well-known fact. Rain matches up really poorly into Scorpion, which will always be bad when your bad matchup is against a poster child of a series or like a video game.
Yeah.
Because you're going to run into Scorpion a lot in Kombat League, and Scorpion kind of shuts down most of his game plan compared to, Rain playing other characters. That's why I always kind of keep him down here, at least for me.
Well, I think this is fair too because it's reflected by what we see in tournaments. I almost never see Rain anymore. So now we have these three characters are like some of the best examples of you can show highlights of them and make people think they're overpowered immediately, but then you'll find people who go, nah, they're just okay. Or nah, they're not that good. I've seen people say Sector is like low tier. What do you think about Sector? I think she's got to be a jack of all trades, like top of B, bottom of A, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, she goes an A for me. She is the true zoner in this game and a really good counter pick character. In a way, tournament niche because she does counter pick so well, but you can go online with this character, do amazing zoning, still hit for chunky damage and some mix here and there.
Reptile. Is he at top of B or is he an A?
So I'm putting him top of B, but there's a caveat to that. It's only because I actually think his most recent buff was amazing that I think we'll see reptiles here at these upcoming offline events. Finally, because it solves his main issue, which is like the best players could always flawless block that one dash attack where he kind of switches sides back and forth. And they made that an overhead at the end of it. But if you flawless blocked it, it was full combo punishable. It is now no longer like that, and then also you can get full combos off of it. It's kind of like a new launching overhead property like Reiko had and Noob Saibot got.
Just from my boy, Sonic High XD, I'm thinking about switching him and Li Mei. What do you think about that?
I like that.
Because Li Mei has that weird matchup with the stubby arms and stuff, but he doesn't, right? Because he has the good whiff punish with standing 3, and he has the teleport. Our boy Raiden got a new move that seemed really cool on paper, but then it goes away on block, which I understand why it needs to, because if it did not, it could possibly be the most busted move in the game, because you could guarantee pressure and you couldn't do nothing about it. So I understand that to an extent, but also it's one of his main issues with that move.
Yeah, and they also changed it in the most recent patch, so they tuned it up where it now lasts like 2 seconds longer, something like that. It's an interesting change it got. Personally, it's too hard to set up against really good opponents without dumping a lot of resources to do it. And then the character in general, Raiden, he's kind of like, he's got an 18 frame mid, which at this point is kind of just outdated versus a lot of the DLC. He has the gap on that second hit overhead where you can just jab through it. He's not the greatest to me, but he's not bad. He's fun to watch.
How we feeling about this, Biff? We got every character is up here except for the cameos. We're not going to do them today. Got to save that for a different video. But how we feeling about this? We got everyone on the roster.
I think it's right. I think we dropped Sub to the bottom of A. It's just something about Sub being above Liu Kang and Reptile doesn't feel right. I do think he gets downplayed a lot, but he's not like, I don't think he's as good as those two.
Real quick disclaimer to everyone watching. First off, if you skipped, you're now cursed. Gypsy cursed, 10 years bad luck. I told you at the start of the video it would happen, and now you reap what you sow. If anything bad happens to you from any point going forward in the future, you know it's because you skipped to the end of this video to see the tier list early, and that's on you. Yeah, I wanted to say, keep in mind that none of these characters are bad, like we said earlier. It's just how do they match up against the other characters and how consistently do they win in those situations. So I think Sub-Zero is the best he's ever been. It's just how can he force dominance when his overhead is reactable and he's got a lot of gaps in his strings, and without a certain cameo, he won't combo off his throw either, so the mix-up element's not really there. When you factor in all these things, how can I honestly put him any higher? Despite me knowing that he's good and the best he's ever been, how can I put him in front of all these other characters? You know, I'm just not sure if I can. I could do this maybe, but that's the furthest I'm gonna be able to move him.
I think it looks good, and honestly, I think this is a great time that if things shift, that's actually perfect, because we're really entering the heat of Pro Comp Season 2. So a lot of this, we might see a sleeper pick that me and True Underdog put in B, all of a sudden pop off at EVO and, go all the way. So a lot of things can change. I like the look at this, And I just am happy with how the meta has progressed over the last year.
Exactly. I guess it's worth mentioning to everyone watching that outside of the top 5 or 6 characters that are very set in stone, possibly the top 10, these characters all exist like an inch away from each other. It's not a staggering difference. So you might see, oh man, look how far down Omni-Man is from Kung Lao. He must really suck. And it's like, no, these two characters are like, they're still like neck and neck.
I think other than that, everything looks pretty good to me. I think if I give myself 10 minutes, I could move everyone's position just a little bit. So,
Oh, yeah.
because I'm liking the look though. I'm liking the look.
I might even move some people around after we're done recording here, but for everyone watching this mountain of a video, 50 minutes plus, by the time I edit it, maybe down to 40 minutes, but still a real behemoth of a video. So if you stood by us and watched the entire runtime of this video, God bless you. Thank you so much. Please leave a like down below if you enjoyed the video, and then finish that combo by subscribing and ringing that bell so you never miss any future videos. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay with me, Diff.
Stay underdogs.